Hey everyone, Mike Wolf here. Thanks for tuning in to another edition of Entrepreneurs Making a Difference, where we connect entrepreneurs from all over the globe so they can collaborate and do bigger and better things together. So today I want to welcome to the show my good friend Alan Ting he's up in the Bay Area, and I'm going to read his bio here. He is an author, professional speaker, and high-performance energy expert. He's been booked on ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox News, and now Entrepreneurs Making a Difference. So he teaches leaders, managers, business professionals, and experts on how to have more clarity, focus, productivity at work, and better influence over their team. He leads seminars and retreats in the U.S. and international countries. He's taught at large companies like HP, Cisco, Amazon, eBay, Microsoft, Motorola, VMware, and at Tony Robbins retreats in Fiji. He's a member of the Expert Industry Association, a certified high-performance coach, advanced NLP health coach, and Tony Robbins Leadership Mastery. So welcome to the show, Alan.
Thank you for having me. It's a great day to be alive and out of bed, Mike.
It's a pleasure to have you here, and I've known you for quite a while. It's good to have you on this show because I know you've done a lot of great things.
Yes. Thank you for the invite.
Yeah, and you live up in the Bay Area, and it looks like you work with a lot of these high-tech companies up there, so you live in the right spot for that.
Yes, that is correct. There's a huge movement now with mindfulness and meditation in every corporation. A lot of big corporations, from Google, from Yahoo, from Facebook, and everybody's, obviously Apple because of Steve Jobs when he used to meditate. There's a huge movement about that because how do we put together a mindfulness practice? How do we offer compassion in the workplace to our workers? Because the number one reason why people quit their job today, do you know what the one thing is?
I would guess just lack. I'd guess lack of fulfillment would be my guess. But what's the answer?
It's up there. So a lot of people think it's the money, right? So number one reason quit is because of money. That's actually not it. Number one reason why people quit is because they don't feel appreciated. Have you guys ever worked in a situation where you had a manager and this manager like micromanages you and going day in and day out and never show you any appreciation? Right? I am sure that happens to some of us in our past life or in the workplace. It actually might happen right now. That's the number one reason why people leave. If we were to practice more mindfulness and more cultivation of that, we will understand people have their busy life too, and we give them a little bit of slack. And when we give them a little bit of slacks to the workers, they'll come back and produce more results. And that's the power of these people that seem, because if you work at Google, it's a pretty stressful environment because it's very high paced, very fast going. So how do you keep people mentally sharp and have mental health as well? And that's one of the huge practices, huge movement they have.
Yeah, wow. Well, that's good to see. I mean, things are definitely changing a lot in the workplace, and there are a lot of changes. And speaking of changes, I mean, I know a little bit about your story, and I know you were actually homeless at one point. Is that true?
Yes. Back in 2001, if you live in a Bay Area, you know what I'm talking about. We went through a dot bomb phase where all the startup company laid everybody off. So I was unemployed for about a year and a half. And at the time, so Mike, you're in real estate, right? So have you heard of the term in-law unit? Does that name ring a bell?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So I was living in San Francisco at the time. So basically, if you guys are not familiar with what it is they turned the garage into a living quarter. So every day my landlord would come back with his Mercedes diesel Benz, and when he pulls into the garage, we have to close all of our doors from inhaling the exhaust fume from his car. That was kind of give you guys an idea. That was the life that I lived in, and I was unemployed for a year and a half. My girlfriend left me. I support my parents financially. At the time, I was 50 pounds heavier. I didn't know what to do. I had very low energy. I had chronic fatigue syndrome, and no matter how much I slept, I woke up and always felt tired. When I feel tired, I can't. I go out for a job interview. People see have very low energy. They don't want to hire me because they're like, that guy's a liability. So how do I get? So the thing is, I want to get my energy back naturally. I don't want to be addicted on caffeine or at the time they didn't have the 5-hour energy drink. But how do I heal myself naturally and get out of bed, because I was lying there for over 6 months, Mike. Mike, I think you just muted. Can you hear me? Mike, I can't hear you. Hello?
Oh,
Yes,
there we
I can
go.
hear you now. There we
Okay,
go.
sorry about that, Alan. We're having some technical difficulties. Um, okay, we're going to edit this, so I'm going to pause for 1 second.
Okay,
So
no worries.
we got everything up to you. So now I'm going to just start with fresh. So, so tell me in your words. I mean, obviously, a lot of entrepreneurs that are watching this, we tend to not have the most balanced lives. We tend to quite often put a lot of emphasis on the work part, and we sometimes don't really think too much about the health part, health and energy. So, I guess in your words, what would be your advice to entrepreneurs when it comes to like health and energy?
Absolutely. I appreciate you asking that question because, health, if you look at it, it's everything. I remember during Expert Industry Association, I had the honor of meeting Jack Canfield. Jack Canfield is a guy who wrote just a very popular book called Chicken Soup Within the Soul, or Chicken Soup for the Soul.
For the soul, yeah.
So when I met Jack, the one thing I learned from him, because this is after the event, everything was over. He was standing there, and he had a mob of people standing there. I think you were there too, if you recall.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like 8 o'clock at night. He just done his speech. I'm sure he's hungry. He flew in. He's tired. He just wanted to get back to his hotel room. But instead, he stood there and spoke to each one of us for at least 5 minutes per person. And he managed his energy really well. And it wasn't then until I realized this. His generosity of being a leader comes from serving himself first, taking good care of his body. Because he loved himself, because he took care of his own health, his own mental health, his own physical health, he was there to serve others. So the analogy I like to use is, like when you're on an airplane and the mask drops, what do? You put on the mask on yourself first before you help others, isn't it? So, being an entrepreneur, I live that life as well, right? So we work about 2 hours a day, and the rest of the day we're hanging out in the pool, drinking our pina coladas, right? I don't know about your life. That is not my life as an entrepreneur, right? We work like 14-hour days, and we work on Saturdays and Sunday too. We hardly ever get a break. When we're working so hard, statistics shows that from Center for Disease Control, 40% of Americans have chronic sleep disorder, insomnia. A lot of it has to do with stress. I don't know about your life, but I know in my life as an entrepreneur, I'm stressed out all the time. How to put my marketing message together, how to launch my program, how to shoot my own videos, so on and so on and so on. Right? But if we don't take good care of our health, in the short run, we're okay. But in the long run, when that chronic stress kicked in, kind of like happened in my life, when I had chronic fatigue syndrome, I couldn't get out of bed. When you can't get out of bed, you serve no good to your audience because you can't help them. You can't serve your family, your wife and kids, your spouse, because they have to take good care of you. So fundamentally, that's the base layer. And one of the key insight that I got from Tony Robbins, one of my huge fan, is he took his family to Cirque du Soleil in Canada. And as he was sitting down, his friend next to him says, "Hey, Tony, check this guy out. That guy in front of us, he's the richest man, the wealthiest man in Canada." And then Tony looks back at him and says, he's not. He's not the wealthiest man. You know why? Because his butt was so big that he had to buy 2 seats.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
that's scary.
That is scary, right? So wealth is really not measured just by monetary or by influence, by power. It's also taking good care of your health. You want to have if you want to have your message to sustain and be able to be in this business for years and years on as an expert, number one, you got to take good care of your health.
Well, that is so important because a lot of times, if we don't choose to take care of our health on our own, because sometimes the universe sends us some signals and puts us in a position where we have no choice but to focus on our health, and then we don't have time to focus on anything else but our health. So it's really good to have that balance. Earlier on, if you figure that out, the better off you are.
Yeah. So there's a little framework that I go by, love to share with your audience, and it's called feather, brick, truck. The best way I can explain it, it's like this. when you go out and you work out at a gym, you haven't been working out for a while. What happens when you pump weights, right? Pump irons. The next day your muscle gets very sore. So that is called feather. Now, the day after you go back to the gym, you're like, you know what? I'm just gonna deliver massive results. I'm gonna try to bulk up. I'm trying to lose weight, and you crank out some more weights, and you keep doing that. Eventually, you might tear a tendon if you're not careful with your body, because you're not paying attention. Hence, brick. Now, if you continue doing that, you might even break an arm. You might even tear even more ligaments, and you're out for 6 months. You're done, and that's called a truck. So in our lifetime, when we go through these different events, we're constantly assessing feather, brick, and truck. If you're not getting enough sleep, go get some sleep. It's fundamental as that. Take some time off. One of the things that Brendan Burchard recommends as well, if you ever take a High Performance Academy, is that you want to get between 7 to 10 hours sleep a day. And on top of that, every 3 months, every 90 days, take some time off and get off the grid and get off your cell phone and get off your laptop. Just spend quality time with your family to recharge your own body.
Yeah, that's great advice. And as you know, I love Brendan Burchard's stuff as much as you do. We always see each other at every event, and that's one of the things that I like is it's not all about how to make more money. It's really about having a balance and being happy and having fulfillment in your life.
And we have to have the discipline for it, because a lot of times we get sucked into work, but there are times we got to step out. And the magic behind that is when you step out, those times you step away from work, you get to see the big picture. And you can just get to see different promotions or different, come up with creative solutions to solve the problems that you currently have. And that's the power of taking time off and getting off the grid.
Yeah, very true. And so you've done a lot of work with, or actually for Tony Robbins in Fiji, for example. What's that like? What's it like to work with Tony?
It's amazing. I was at Fiji and Life Mastery, and at the end of the event, I taught my energy method every morning to people. And at the end of the event, I had this young lady that came up to me and said, Alan, I just want to take a moment to appreciate you for what you're doing, because you heal me. Before coming to Life Mastery, I was depressed. I was really sad. And I even contemplated of taking my own life. The only reason why I didn't is because I have these 3 little girls. I can't leave them. I'm a single mother, and because of taking your classes, because now I have more energy, that I feel liberated, that I found insight, and I just want to take a moment to share that with you. And there are many other stories, but this one in particular I love to share is because, not to toot my own horns by any means, but if you study traditional Chinese medicine, different part of our organs holds different emotions. Our lungs holds the aspiration and also grief. Hence, when we're sad, when we're about to cry, we go, right? A lot of has to do with our lungs. So if you know how to use your body, how to move with your body, you can release that toxin. Now, there's a book called The Second Brain, which talks about our stomach lining has 40 million more cells than our head. So, we even use it in our language pattern. That the gut feel is also known as intuition. And it comes from our stomach, isn't it? Right? When we're heartbroken, I don't know about you guys, my heart's been slammed a couple of times, right, from previous relationship.
Oh, we've all been there.
Yeah. Physically, we feel it in our heart, right? It's because we're heartbroken. So now you understand different organs hold different emotions. You can unlock that and make a difference in your life. And that's the message I love to share with the audiences out there. By doing something very simple, by just moving your chest, you're getting all the toxin, the emotional toxin out of your body. And that's the power that we have.
Yeah, that's a great message. So how'd you go from being this guy who lived in a garage and overweight, which I can't picture because all the time I've known you've been in very good shape, but how'd you go from that to becoming the energy expert? How'd you learn about energy?
So at the time I tried everything. I bought Tony Robbins CD, loved it, highly recommend it. It's what is it called? Get the Edge. He talks about go out and go for a run, go bicycling, go exercise. I did all that. I did 3 miles run every other day. I go for I rode bicycle. I rode 10 miles, 20 miles. I kickboxed. I did all that. I felt my energy peaked, but at the end of the day, it brought it way back down. I couldn't find that level of sustainment. I changed my diet. I became a vegetarian. Didn't work either. Although I did lose weight, but my energy was still just like this. It wasn't until one day I was riding my bicycle and I was riding around Golden Gate Park in San Francisco. I found these guys, these old men doing Tai Chi. They're these very simple, very easy movement. And I was intrigued. My first instinct was, hey, that's for old people. I was 20-something at the time. This is not for me. They move way too slow. This is not for me. But you know what? Something in my intuition or in my stomach says, Alan, just go check it out. So, within a week, I went there and tried it. At the end, I had so much more energy. I felt alive. My heart was open. My body felt loose, and I was hooked. The only challenge with that was the sessions were like an hour. At work, I don't have an hour. At the time, I got promoted into account management position, which meant I still had to work 14-hour days, and I got hired at a very fast-paced moving Silicon Valley company. And if I didn't have the energy, I would get fired. If I get fired, then my mom and my dad and I will all be homeless. So I really get my energy level up and make it sustainable. And that's when I started studying so Eastern medicine, yoga, but it wasn't until this one last ingredient, when I put it together, bam, my energy skyrocketed. And that was with neuroscience and NLP. So once I was able to unlock that, I can get people's energy up in just 5 minutes. And we can do a quick demonstration of this exercise, and you'll feel that in your body.
Sure, let's do it.
All right, so everybody out there, I'd like to invite you to go ahead and stand up with me. Okay, if you're sitting down right now, don't make me out there and grab you and pull you up. All right, so stand up with me. So I'd like you to stand up, and from here, bring your feet about shoulders width apart. Okay.
All right. It's hard to see your whole body, but I'm doing it. I'm not cheating. I'm actually doing this.
I see you. So drop your shoulders, bring your shoulders back. Good. And then just start bouncing up and down with your feet. Good. So if you guys ever been to a Brendan Burchard event, this looks very familiar. So this is called Qigong, or direct translation from Chinese is called Qigong, or energy practice, or energy mastery. Now, let me explain it this way. So something as simple as this, we're squeezing our cells ever so slightly, and we're moving our lymphatic system. If you guys are not familiar with what our lymph system does, let me explain it this way. Our heart, our circulatory has a pump. It's called a heart to get our blood moving. Our lymph system has 3 times more fluid than our circulatory system. But unfortunately, it does not have a pump. So our lymph system is responsible for getting rid of our waste, of our toxin out of our body, provide more nutrients. So how do we boost our immune system? By doing this. And unfortunately, our lymph doesn't have a pump. Now, when we bounce up and down like this, we're lymphosizing. We're getting our energy moving again. Okay? Especially for those of you, I don't know about you, but I sit in front of a computer all day long. Okay? I recommend you do just something as simple as this every 5 minutes, or 5 minutes for every hour, if not an hour and a half, just to get your blood circulating, your lymph circulating. And in a moment, you're going to feel a lot of energy. So do you guys feel the heat in your body? We're starting to build up a little bit, yeah?
It's amazing that something as simple as this, and I actually do feel more energetic already, and we haven't even, just from bouncing a little bit.
Yeah. Wait until you try my full program. Your energy is going to go, through the roof. All right, from here, I'd like you to slowly slow down, come back into stillness, and I'd like you to do is go and rub your palms together, and as if you're creating sparks in between your palms.
I'm going to start a fire.
Start a fire. Okay, so feel the heat in between your palms, and I'd like you to do is go ahead and open up your palms and start circling your palms. A little bit closer. Mike, a little bit closer. There you go.
Okay.
So, do you guys feel that energy in between your palms?
I do, actually, yeah.
So, some of us feel it, some of us don't. If you don't feel it, it's quite okay. Drop your expectation. So, allow your expectation to go. And just kind of be like a kid. Kind of just curiosity. Just kind of feel in between your palm. So,
It
Mike,
also
what do you
feels a little
feel?
bit magnetic, actually.
Yes, kind of like the reverse polarity, right? A little bit. Okay,
Hmm.
now let's rub our palms again. Okay, now imagine you're creating some healing power in between your palms, whatever size, whatever shape, whatever color. So like you to just use your imagine, like a little kid. Kind of like, in like the day before Christmas, you're like, ooh, what am I going to get for Christmas, right? So
I'm excited.
yeah, I tried it. Okay, now again, open up your palms, and now this time, or curl your fingers just a little bit, and then rotate your palms again. So what do you guys feel?
It's kind of tingly.
Yes, yes. So that's your chi, your energy moving. So the truth is, we have energy in between our palms, and we can use that for healing, for storing more energy in our body. Uh, the thing is, like, Alan, I don't believe you. This is hocus pocus. This is like new age stuff. This practice I'm teaching you right here comes from a 2,000-year-old lineage. It came from my ancestor that I'm sharing with you right now. And if you guys know Dr. Oz says if you want to live to up to 100, do qigong every day. So
Really?
this stuff
Wow.
is So this stuff is
Well,
very
I think
vital.
anybody who is skeptical should just try it because I mean I can feel it. You're not
Yes,
making this up.
yes. And here's the thing. During the fall time, especially Mike up in Canada, where your maple leaves, turn its color, and when the wind blows, you see the leaves falling off. Now the question is, can you see the wind energy? No, you
No, you
can't.
don't
It's
see it.
invisible.
You certainly see
But
the effects of it.
right, you see the leaves blowing, right? But does that mean the wind energy does not exist?
No, it's
It does.
definitely there.
It's definitely there. So now what I like to do is do the same thing over. So rub and create some spark
Okay.
and some healing energy to allow your imaginations to run wild. Okay. Okay. Now what I like you to do is go ahead and place it behind you, so on your lower back, and then
Okay.
rub your kidney region. So if you were to trace up your ribs, the lower part of your ribs in your lower
Okay.
back, rub that part. Okay. Come back again. Go ahead and rub.
Okay.
Now, do you feel that heat in your body?
I do. Yeah. Absolutely.
So this is a law
Warming.
of thermodynamics. So our heat is rising, our energy is moving, our blood is moving. Okay, go ahead and rub your kidneys again. And the reason why we're rubbing our kidneys, like I mentioned before, different part of our body holds different emotion. They have different purposes. Our kidneys is the energy meridian. So it's like the batteries for our body. So when we rub our kidneys, it's like charging our batteries. Okay, go ahead and rub one more time. Now you may feel some tingling in your lower back. You feel some warmness. Again, that's your energy moving.
Hmm.
Okay, let's do it one more time.
Okay.
I don't know about you, but I am really warm right now.
Me too. It's definitely warming me up, which is good because actually before we went on this interview, I was feeling a little chilly.
Okay, now shake everything out.
Okay.
Okay, that's it. That was just about 5 minutes. And notice your energy now before we started. Do you feel
Yeah, it's much
loosened?
different. I definitely feel a lot more energetic right now.
Yes.
So now I can do an
And then,
hour-long interview instead of those short 30-minute ones, right?
yes, exactly. So if you haven't done it, rewatch this part over again. Try with me, and just feel it. Your body's gonna feel totally different. Something very simple, easy to do. Um, so at the time, I was even wearing slacks. I was even wearing, business clothes, and I was able to do this. So we can literally do this anywhere, while traveling in an airport, while working in the office. Yeah, I get people see like looking at you like, do you have lower back problems, or what's wrong with you shaking? Don't mind them, because it's more important for us to get our energy up, right?
Yeah, well, I might feel kind of self-conscious if I do it on an airplane or whatnot. The person next to me might want to switch seats, but I can see it does definitely have an effect on your energy levels for sure.
So I used to do it by the exit roll, or back by before the lavatory. I just came back from Asia recently, and throughout the entire plane, this is exactly what I'm doing. We're shaking
Yeah,
up and down.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, that's good. I usually just when I went to Asia, I slept the whole way, so I had the opposite of energy on that flight. So
Nice.
yeah, so I know in some of your content, I've seen that you have something that you call energy zappers. How do we avoid energy zappers, and what are they?
Yeah, so very good point. Now we learn how to create our own energy. It doesn't do us any good if we don't know how to retain them. It's like my analogy, it's like your car has a flat because it's got a nail in it, it's got a hole that big. No matter how much energy or air you pump into it, you're always going to be running flat. So here are the three top energy zappers you got to know. Number one is water. Okay, we all know the importance of drinking water, but do you guys know that if you drink the wrong temperature at the wrong time, it will actually slow down your body? You'll go into hibernation. It'll dilute your digestion. Bad digestion causes, from bad enzyme or lack of enzyme can lead to chronic, illnesses. It could be like joint pains, even weight loss. You're gonna have issue with weight loss. So when you drink raw water at the wrong time, for example, when we go to a restaurant, the first thing we sit down, what does the waiter bring us? A glass of water, right? Now, we usually drink water during our meal. When we drink water with our meal, you can sip just a little bit, but if you drink the whole entire content, that includes beer and orange juice and all that good stuff, it dilutes your digestive tract, starting from your saliva and all the way to the enzyme. So it cools down your fire within your stomach that helps you process your food. Okay. So second thing.
Oh, actually, before you go on, I just want to ask you a question. So when you say temperature of water, what temperature should we be drinking our water at?
It's a very good question. That leads to my second point.
Oh, good. Okay.
When we sit down and we place that water, waiter that brings us the water, what's within that water? Ice cube. Yeah. Exactly. When we drink ice cube, there's a reason why our body's at 98.6 degrees, not 201, not 96.5. Very specific, 98.6, because we need to keep our body homeostasis to keep our cells alive. So when we drink ice water, it slows down our body, and again, slows down our enzyme, because it takes more energy to warm up that ice cold water, and we go into hibernation. But unfortunately, if you look at every restaurant you go, they always serve you ice water. Now, I remember sitting down having a meal with a chiropractor, and this is for dinner, and a waitress comes by and says, "Sir, would you like some water?" I'm like, "I'm good." And she's very insistent, like, "I have to get you water because that's the norm." I'm like, "No, I'm really, really good." But she doesn't understand the reasons why.
So what about when we drink something like tea or coffee, something with hot water? What effect does that have?
Ideally, you want to drink warm or room temperature water. Now, when you drink hot water, it's okay, provided that you're not a speaker. If you shoot videos, if you're a public speaker, when you start to lose your voice, don't drink hot water with lemon with honey in it. Because if you ever taken Roger's Loves course, he'll talk about that. It's going to cause more inflammation. So that's why I said drink warm water or room temperature water.
Okay, I did not know that. So I'm learning a lot of good stuff here. And so what's number 3? We got number 1, number 2. What's number 3?
So that was actually number 3.
Oh, that was number 3. Okay,
that
great.
was number 3.
Oh, great.
So we're counting it backwards in order of importance. Okay.
Well, we're learning a lot of good stuff because Roger Love is a professional voice coach. So we're getting his wisdom through you. So thanks for sharing that too.
Yes. The second is what I call breathing. Okay. We know we breathe because it happens to us automatically. But how often do we do conscious breathing? And how often do we do that purposely? So if I could ask you, if you were to picture a person who's totally stressed out, who's angry, how would that person breathe? Would that person be breathing fully or more shallow?
Well, they'd be doing very short breaths, and yeah.
Or maybe even holding their breath, right?
True.
But you don't have to be a psychiatrist. You don't have to be, you don't have to learn anatomy. You know this. Question is why? We all know this by nature. We just haven't replicated or reverse engineered it. So when we're angry, when we're upset, when we're stressed out, we breathe a certain pattern. Now on the flip side, Mike, imagine that you just did $1 million deal, or imagine you took your wife or your family and out on vacation and you're in Hawaii, and you're experiencing the best time in your lives. How would you breathe?
well, first of all, I'd be weird because I'm divorced, so I don't know why I'd be taking her. But um, if I'd probably be having I'd be having a panic attack. But no, but in all honesty, you would be breathing more fully, and I would think, right?
Yes. You breathe in more fully. You're more relaxed. So once you understand that, you can unlock that power because when we're stressed out, when we're under a lot of tension, that slows down our energy. So when we know how to breathe consciously, we're open up the floodgates of energy. It's like, surfer calls it like we're riding on a wave. You're in a flow zone. So that's
Yeah.
number two. Number one thing, you got to be this is the most important thing. If you didn't take anything out of this entire call or this conference, know this: your posture. When you lean forward and you're slouching forward, especially, I work in the Silicon Valley. We call this the high-tech Silicon Valley syndrome. You're like in front of a computer, you're just typing away, this concave dinosaur look, right? It is so bad for your body because you're crushing your organs, you're crushing your lungs, your digestion isn't properly moving. It is so taxing on your heart because you're not breathing fully. And that robs the energy away from you. So when you put your shoulders down, so I'd like to have you do a quick, to demonstrate a nice posture. So go ahead and bring your shoulders down.
Okay.
Lift up your chin. So in this moment, in this physiology, in this body posture, notice how isn't it a little bit easier to breathe?
Yeah, it is. It's obviously more comfortable. Quite often I find myself leaning over because I want to be close to the microphone, which you guys can't see, but I have a microphone in front of me. But this is actually much more comfy.
Yes, this is our natural state. Okay, and remember we just talked about breath, right? So when we're in this physiology, when this body posture, it is also easier for you to breathe fully as well.
Yeah, so true. So yeah, that's you have a lot of great points today, and thanks for sharing all those. So some of the names that came up, Brendan Burchard, Roger Love, Jack Canfield, Tony Robbins, of course, a lot of great people that had big influences on my life as well as you, obviously. Who would you say is your biggest influence? Who's inspired you the most of all the people that you've worked with? And
Yes, it would be Tony Robbins. I know in the beginning when I saw this guy, this giant man with horse teeth, and I've already took my NLP training. What am I going to learn from Tony? I already know everything, right? This young punk kid. But you know what? For me, I always have an open mind. I'm just going to check it out. If it's not for me, it's okay. But at least I tried. So I went in, like I mentioned, I went into Unleash the Power Within back in 2006, and it was a life-changing moment for me. It wasn't just about walking the fire cold, because at the time I came out of a 4-year relationship. Like I mentioned, my girlfriend left me, and I had a lot of trauma in our heart. And similar to what Brendan says, when we get hurt, we put walls in front of us. We block out the bad guys, right? But we also block out the good guys. So I realized there was a lot of anger, a lot of resentment that I need to let go. And by going through this program, I was able to find my own inner peace. And because of that, that was in '06. In 2007, I became the #1 account manager at Hewlett Packard. And my success continued to grow. By 2009, 2010, I was also been awarded at another high-tech company called VMware. If you guys don't know technology, pretty big company, and had a huge success in there as well. Year over year, I was making 5%, the top 5% income bracket in the United States. So a lot of it has to do with psychology. Once you get your mindset correctly, everything else is the easiest part. But that's the first part that we need to work on.
Yeah, Unleash the Power Within is a great event, and I had the privilege of taking it probably about a year ago in Chicago, and it was definitely transformational. So I know what you're talking about, and it wasn't just the firewalk was kind of cool in a way, and certainly a metaphor for other things in life. But there are just a lot of great takeaways of that event.
Absolutely,
So,
yeah, for sure. If any of you have never been, highly recommend it. I don't get a dime out of it. It changed my life, and just go with an open mind, and you'll find your own answers within the event.
Absolutely. And so we're running out of time here, unfortunately. It's been very fascinating, a lot of great information. What would be the one message you want to leave the audience with? What would be your big inspirational message to go out with?
You know, at the end of our lives, think about these three things. Have I done my best, and have I done what I love? Yes, we can go out there and make money, especially for entrepreneur, make it ethically, and enough to just live well. At the same time, give that money back to our society, contribute back and help out. And number three, make sure you take care of your health, because health is everything. If you don't have that base layer, you're not able to contribute, you're not just able to spend time with your family, you do no good for your society. So those are the three things I would say.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks so much for sharing that. And how would somebody get a hold of you if they wanted to get some more information about what you do?
Yes, and for your audience, I'd love to share with you free gift worth $97.
Oh,
Go to, you're welcome. Go to instantenergymethod.com. Again, instantenergymethod.com. Enter your name and email address. You get 3 free videos on how to boost your energy naturally, identify what is stress, what is draining your energy, and how to manage your energy for the long run.
I have one more question for you before we go.
Yes.
I'm on your email list, and I saw your email today, and I didn't get a chance to watch the video, but I think the title was something like, "Are you eating dog food?" or something like that. So I just wanted to ask you about that because I didn't get a chance to watch it, so I'm kind of curious.
In Silicon Valley, in high tech, we have this term, do you eat your own dog food? Meaning, do you actually, the software that you produce, do you actually use your own software? A lot of companies don't.
I get it. I love that.
I eat my own dog food because I do this on a regular basis. Every other day, I'm bouncing up and down.
You're practicing what you preach.
Yeah, at Whole Food, I'm bouncing up and down. I got people looking at me like, yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you probably feel a whole lot better than they do, so.
Yeah. Because when we feel better, when we take a, going back to what Jack Canfield was talking about, when we feel better with ourselves, we have the power to go out and serve. And that's my main message.
Yeah, that is a great message. And thanks so much for being here, Alan. It's been really fascinating, and I've learned a lot. And I'm sure the viewers are learning a lot, and I'd love to have you back. Thank you. It's a great day to be alive. And, yeah, it certainly is. Certainly is. So thanks again, Alan, and thank you, the viewers, for tuning in to Entrepreneurs Making a Difference. I look forward to serving you again in another episode. My name again is Mike Wolf. Thanks again. Thank you, Mike. Thanks a lot, Alan. Okay.